All right, everybody, welcome. Episode 1 of a show I am calling All My Friends Are Dads, because I realized not long ago that all my friends are now dads. Thank you, Facebook. I wanted to reach out to the people who I know and love and find out what it's been like having kids, how it's changed their life, what it's meant for them, and how they're learning to adapt to a new life. And so I have to be honest, the first person that came to mind was maybe my most resourceful and most well-prepared friend, the man who will save us when the zombie apocalypse comes, but can also garden the shit out of a garden and also MMA grapple with you. Oakley Hall is joining us. This is episode 1 with Oakley Hall and All My Friends Are Dads. How's it going, Oak?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. That was a intense intro. It's a lot to live up to.
Well, it's just, we've known each other for a couple of years now. We've gone through thick and thin, done some new experiences, had some crazy, weird experiences. And yeah, man. Now you've embarked on the weirdest experience of all, being a father.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty weird. I got to say, it's pretty weird.
On a scale of playing kickball and becoming a father to a teenage daughter, where do you think you are now? On a scale of 1 to 10, how weird is it?
Well, she's not quite a teenager yet. She's a teen monther. But I would say having a baby is pretty weird. I mean, it's awesome, but it's a lot. It's pretty crazy, man. I would say it's much weirder than playing adult kickball.
Okay. All right, good. So nothing we've done to this point has prepared us for what it's over the last 7 years, I mean.
Yeah, you know what's funny is like nothing like really prepares you for it, but you find that you're prepared for it. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're not ready, but it's like you're programmed biologically to do it, so you just do it. Which is cool. It's a good feeling. It's like, I don't know, it just it feels natural to take care of your offspring, I guess.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So there's something right in the universe, even though it feels chaotic.
Yes, it's like it toggles between like the most infuriating and frustrating experience that you'll ever have to being like the most satisfying and like gratifying and exciting thing in your life. So like people who say that like kids are the absolute worst and people who say that like there's nothing better and more important than your life than kids are both right.
Well, I think that's a perfect setup then for everything that's going to happen on this call and future calls. That's a great way of putting it. Well, let's start from the top, because I think maybe some context would help set the conversation off, right? You have a daughter. Her name is Leah.
Leah, yep.
And she just turned 1. So
she just turned 1. Yep.
You guys, congratulations on finishing 1 year. Congratulations on keeping her alive 1 year.
Thank you. It's that, I gotta say, now that she's a year old, I've sort of just gotten comfortable with the notion that if I put her in her crib, that she will survive until the morning. Like the whole first year of her life, like when she was sleeping, if I couldn't see her breathing, I wasn't entirely convinced that she was, and I wanted to go up and like look at her. But now she seems like more of a person who can sleep through the night and survive it
and be capable of that. I mean, how often when you put her down for bed, how often were you going in to check on her when that all first started?
I mean, okay, so when babies first come home from the hospital, like they breathe really erratically, meaning they like are like kind of rasping and grunting, and then they'll just kind of stop for a minute and then they'll pick up again. So that was like, you would hear her like rattling terrible breathing when she was sleeping in her room when she first got home, and every once in a while it would just stop and you'd get up and run over, and of course she'd be fine. I definitely had one, when she was a couple of months old, I had one night when, and I've done it a couple of times where I've gone in to just sort of put my hand on her chest or like put my, like lean next to her face. And like, I went in to check on her, put my hand on her chest, and I couldn't feel anything. And I put my fingers under her nose to feel her breath, and I couldn't feel anything. And I just like, my heart like stopped, and I scoop her up out of her bed and I pick her up and look at her, and her eyes like bolt open, and she just kind of like, ah, And I was like, ah, and I put her back down. I ran out of the room and I was just sitting in the hall like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. But of course she was fine, as babies always are. But I guess it's that thing where like, you've never worried about anything as much as you worry about this baby. Like suddenly everything becomes like so fragile and just like, you just are like so aware of like mortality and danger and all this stuff. And like, you know, you just become really anxious about, at least I do. I mean, not everybody does, I guess, but.
And how have you learned to like release that, not grip, but like how have you come to terms with the uncertainty, or have you, and you just kind of like, you don't.
Your parents right now are like worrying about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that it just never goes away. You know, I think like you get over the worrying that she's not going to wake up from a nap, like, you know, that kind of thing, but you move on to something else. Like there's just a million things to worry about. Now she's walking around and she's like trying to climb up the stairs and like, you know, she's like just trying to pull coffee mugs off the table and just any kind of trouble she can get into, she's getting into. So I think you just accept a sort of state of worry, which is like a natural thing. I think you should be worried because kids are stupid and they do dangerous stuff and they're going to hurt themselves. So you kind of have to be alert. But I think that's just your life now. You know, you just worry.
What have you guys talked about what's your parenting approach going to be? I mean, you say kids do stupid stuff, which we do. I do all the time. So have you developed a philosophy or an approach now that they get to be sort of an impressionable age from here on out? Like, how are you going to enforce or not enforce stupid things?
I mean, yeah, it's like, it's hard. I think it's kind of something, you know, as parents, like Amy and I try to, you know, we'll try to be a team about stuff, especially when Leah gets older and starts like having opinions about things. But I think your parenting style just sort of comes from who you are, like how you respond to things, like what you think is right and wrong, like what kind of like, you know, like, for example, when kids are really small, they learn very early, like how to manipulate you, like what they learn, like what kind of behaviors can they do to get what they want from you. Like if I scream and cry, am I going to get Cheerios? So, and I screamed and cried and I got Cheerios last time. So, you know, I'm just going to do that again and it's going to be awesome. So, you know, there's different ways you can approach that. You can, you know, you can give them what they want so they'll shut up, or, you know, a lot of times like you have to take a hard line so that they don't get trained up to have a temper tantrum to get what they want. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, the best example of this really is sleep. Because I think, you know, one of the most important things that you'll ever do for your kids that you'll ever like teach them is how to sleep, you know, how to be a good sleeper. And that's something that you'll have for your entire life. You sleep well. And when they're young, like, you know, big part of brain development happens when you're asleep, and like just being a good sleeper is like crucially important. But kids suck at sleeping when they first start. You know, they cry, they want you, it's just bad times. And going through the period where you're teaching a baby how to sleep and how to be alone in a bedroom, in the crib by themselves, is like really agonizing, because a lot of times it means like letting them cry in their room by themselves, and which is like a knife in the heart, listening to your baby cry and not doing anything about it.
Sure.
But you find, at least in our experience, we've found that, you know, a couple of nights of that led to now Leah being like a really good sleeper, and like that being just great for her health and well-being and, you know, everything. And it was like a sort of lesson we learned that like throughout her life and our lives, we're going to have to do things that she's not going to understand and she's going to be really upset about. And her being upset is going to break our hearts, but we know that it's right to do for her. So we're going to do it. And, you know, this is the sleep thing being just the first of like many things that we'll do.
Sure. What about, so you mentioned, you know, teamwork and also a collective approach to helping her get better at sleeping. I mean, the other side of becoming a dad is how to deal with your wife, right? I mean, how has that changed the dynamic for you guys at all? I mean, how does that kind of change life for you guys now having a kid in the house?
Well, I mean, it changes life in the sense that, like, a guy that I follow on Twitter put it really well yesterday in when he said, you never realize what a huge vacation your entire life has been until you have kids. So, it changes things in the fact that, like, you lose a lot of your time that you had before to do things like go on dates or like hang out on the couch or like, Amy and I reminisce about when we used to live in the city and we just like lie in bed on a Saturday and order Seamless. Dude, yes. Fucking do that as much as you can. Like, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And, so it takes a lot. It takes more effort to, like, Amy and I, like, we try to make a point of having a date night once a week. Like, we really try to like hammer that out, and we're going to do it. And, we try to at least a couple of nights a week, like sit at the dinner table, like civilized people, and like have a conversation and not just like flop out after the baby goes to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So, it takes a little more effort for us to like, pay enough attention to each other and not just the baby. Yeah. And I mean, we're only a year in, so this is a long road. So we have lots to learn.
I guess I look at it too. Like, these are the first years when you're not sleeping, you're all kind of stressed out. Everybody's like stressed out about the drastic changes that are happening. So it seems like that would be a critical time to kind of figure things out too.
I mean, the time that you hear the most about, like the first couple of months when like you're getting up in the middle of the night and people are just like haggard and like war torn from not sleeping at all. There's like, you almost can't really plan for that. Like, you just have to like endure it. But once you get to the point, like after we got Leah trained up to sleep, like now she goes to bed at 7 o'clock and, on a good night, she wakes up at 6:30. Sometimes she wakes up at like 5:45. But usually she sleeps like about the same schedule that we do.
Yeah.
So we do get sleep at night, and it's more about when she's home, like she takes constant attention. Like, you can't really just like put her down to just do her own thing because she'll eat a light bulb.
She'll figure out how to do something.
Dive off some stairs or something. I mean, our house is like completely baby proofed, but like, dude, there's no true baby proofing. Like, she is just like, she'll find a way to hurt herself. So it's like, constant monitoring, and that's assuming she's in a good mood. I mean, sometimes she's, she's not,
Sometimes she's in a shit mood.
Yeah, exactly. She needs to be taken for a walk or whatever. So it's, it's a lot of, focus and attention, and because of that, you gotta really make sure that you use your time wisely.
Yeah. All right, you talk about getting her in the playpen, giving her stuff to do. What's been the best toy that you bought Leah so far? What's the thing that she's gone craziest about?
Well, it changes over time. So I thought, especially early on, one of her favorite toys was this. It was like a dog chew toy. Like, it was like a giraffe, squeaky toy.
I remember this. I think I remember this, but yeah.
So but the funny thing is it's like this French giraffe squeaky toy made of like fair trade rubber or some kind of, shit, like whatever, like that.
Of course. Free range rubber.
It's $28. It's a dog chew toy. I thought that's the best racket I've ever heard. So that was like, we got from our baby registry. She liked that. Now her favorite toy is like, and this is a funny sort of, I guess, cultural observation. Her favorite toy is like a baby doll. It's like a little stuffed baby, and her first word really has been baby. And so she walks around with this little baby doll, so BB, 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 BB. And like, I of course have been trying to train her up to like be an engineer. I want to like, I try to get her, like, I give her trucks to play with. I try to get her to like build things out of like blocks. Like, we have this Legos, and all she wants to do is just play with her BB and like carry it around and like give it its little pacifier and like give it kisses. And I was like, man, if that is not nature over nurture, I have not seen anything that is.
Well, she'll learn to love computers, Dad.
Yeah, right. So Amy and I always say that, like, if she's a nerd, then she's mine. If she's a jock, then she's Amy's. And it looks like she's gonna be a nerd, dude. She's really into books. She's not so into balls. She doesn't want to play soccer. She's more into like reading books.
Yeah. So then that was my next question. Like, what's the best book? What do you read? What book do you have to have in your arsenal as a dad?
So there's a lot of good kids books. I mean, they're not good. I mean, children's books are by definition like terrible. That that's like two words on each page, and they're made out of cardboard. The key thing is less about which books are really good and more to like try to stash away the ones that are really terrible. Like I gotta say, I've learned recently, and like all due respect and praise to Dr. Seuss, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish sucks. It's a bad book. It is not good. It is one of his lesser works. And yet Leah always grabs it off the bookshelf and like toddles over and wants me to read about the stupid Zang that you use for opening your cans. And it's bad times. It's bad times.
So one vote down for Red Fish, Blue Fish.
No Red Fish, Blue Fish. Go Cat in the Hat. Go Cat in the Hat. Go Lorax.
Horton Hears a Who.
Horton Hears a Who. That's brilliant. But not One Fish, Two Fish, man. That's not good.
All right. Let's finish up. I mean, tell me, so where did the name come from? Like, what's the origin? What's the genesis of the Genesis in your family here?
A process of elimination.
Okay.
Amy and I looked at every list of girl names that was ever published by anyone in every language in every country. And Leah was the only one that neither of us like disliked.
Okay.
So naming a kid is hard because I'll tell you this, because every name sounds weird when it's disembodied. You know what I mean? Like, so like when you know somebody's name, like Carl, like I know you're Carl. I look at you and you look like a Carl because I know your name is Carl. But in the abstract, like names are very weird. Like, and it feels like a lot of pressure to give the kid like a really clever or perfect name, but who cares? Like we all have names and they're all the same. And I mean, have you ever met somebody like in your life, like at work or something, and been introduced to them and been like, damn, that name sucks. Their name is terrible. No, like you wouldn't think that because you just get introduced to them and that's their name. And but at the time it seems like a really big decision. So
yeah, I can't.
Anyway, we just like you can't. What would you say?
I was just gonna say I was trying to think of a good example of somebody who I've met and I'm like, you know what, that name just kind of missed the mark. But yeah, I think you're right. Most times I meet people and it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, you seem like that person.
It doesn't even occur to you, right? Unless their name's like, like if we'd named her like if it was a boy, we'd name her like Paul Hall or something. You know what I mean? Like that would have been weird.
That would have been awesome. That would have been like if I named my first kid Paul Polowitz.
Right. And like I proposed Zelda, but Amy didn't think Zelda was a very good name. But Zelda.
I get it. I get it.
But no, and so Leah was just like, it was a process of going through a million names. And, we talked over the idea of like family names, but I know like Amy felt like kind of a lot of pressure that if we were going to name someone after one side of the family, then we'd have to make sure that everyone, and so we decided to go the route of a non-family name, and one that we just both liked. And we picked Leah with some trepidation, and now it's like awesome. What else could she possibly be called? Her name's Leah. She looks like a Leah. She's
she's a Leah.
Yep.
All right, man. Big finish. What's the one piece of advice you would offer to a new dad if you had to pick one thing that you've learned over this last year? What would you say to somebody just getting started?
You are going to get angry at your baby, and that's okay. It's okay. You're not a bad person. Babies are frustrating. They're going to drive you up the wall. Just take a deep breath, breathe out, be cool. Don't yell, but understand that like babies are assholes and they're going to do things that are absolutely infuriating. And you are going to appropriately get angry. And that doesn't make you like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not a psycho because you're mad at a 1-year-old, but it's how you comport yourself that matters and not how you feel.
Okay.
As it's usually the case in life. It's how you act that matters, not how you feel. But that was something, early on, Leah would make me really angry. I'd be like, God, I'm a monster. How am I angry at this baby? But I, having talked with other dads and like experienced other kids, like, dude, kids piss you off. So, you live with it and you move on and they'll be cool later.
Perfect. Good to know, man. Well, listen, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, this is a lot of fun.
A lot of good stuff. This is great. Probably, I'll probably even do a quick write-up, and maybe there'll be a way for people to ask you more questions if they have them or something like that down the future.
I'm happy to.
Down the road.
Underscore O Hall on Twitter, so you can always tweet at me.
Did you change your Twitter name?
Yeah, I did. I changed it. I felt like Oakley 349 was like too. I don't know. Just
being a dad has really changed you.
It has. Actually, it's work. Like I feel like I use my Twitter handle for work stuff a lot more, and like Oakley 349 just seemed like kind of juvenile. So I had to grow up and append an underscore to the front.
Damn, dude.
Underscore O Hall on Twitter.
It should be Father O Hall.
Father time.
Yes, of course. Perfect. All right, Oakley, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This has been episode 1 of All My Friends Are Dads, and we'll have more eventually. So hope you come back, listen again. Oak, thanks again. We'll see you guys for a barbecue soon.
Later.
Take care, everybody.